We all have moments when we fail. We've all experienced that gut-wrenching feeling of seeing our efforts fall short, of watching our dreams slip through our fingers. It's easy to see failure as the end of the road. It's easy to let the sting of disappointment convince us that we're not cut out for what we want to achieve. But what if I told you that failure isn't the end at all? What if I told you it's just the beginning of something greater? Every failure is fuel. It's the raw material that can drive you forward if you're willing to see it for what it truly is. But here's the catch: you have to be strong enough to use it. Not everyone has the courage to look failure in the face, to embrace it, and to use it as a stepping stone. Too many people let failure define them. They take it personally, as though it's a reflection of their worth or their potential. But failure is never about your worth. It's about learning, growing, and becoming something more than you were before. If you want to achieve something meaningful in life, you need to accept one simple truth: failure is inevitable. It doesn't matter how talented you are, how well you plan, or how hard you work, at some point, something will go wrong. But that doesn't mean it's over. In fact, it might be the best thing that ever happened to you. When you fail, you are given a gift, the gift of insight. Failure exposes your weaknesses, reveals your blind spots, and shows you where you need to grow. It provides you with the information you can use to make smarter decisions moving forward. It tells you exactly what doesn't work, so you can focus on what does. The key is how you respond. Do you retreat, defeated by the setback? Or do you stand tall, analyze what went wrong, and use that knowledge to refine your approach? The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is not the number of failures they face, but how they use those failures. The greatest achievements often come after the deepest disappointments. Every successful person has faced failure, sometimes multiple times. What separates them from the rest is that they didn't let it stop them. They used their failures as fuel, but using failure as fuel requires something more than just a positive attitude. It requires resilience. It requires grit. It requires you to be the kind of person who sees a setback and says, "This is not the end. This is the lesson I needed to move forward." It requires the strength to get back up, adjust your course, and keep pushing forward. And it requires the humility to admit that you don't have all the answers, but you are willing to keep searching, keep learning, and keep growing. So the next time you fail, don't run from it. Don't let it define you. Use it. Use it to propel yourself towards success. Use it to sharpen your skills, refine your strategy, and deepen your resolve. Because failure is not your enemy, it's the catalyst for your greatest breakthroughs. If you are man enough to face it, to learn from it, and to use it as fuel, you will find that every failure only brings you one step closer to your true potential. Failure is an experience that touches everyone at some point in their lives. It doesn't matter who you are, what your ambitions are, or how carefully you plan. Failure is inevitable. At first, this might seem like a discouraging thought, but it's actually one of the most liberating truths we can embrace. The idea that failure is a universal experience means that you're not alone when things don't go as planned. It's not a personal flaw or a reflection of your potential. It's simply part of the human experience. What we often forget is that failure isn't a sign of weakness or inadequacy. It doesn't mean we're incapable of success or that we're destined to fail forever. It's just an inevitable part of any meaningful journey. When we fail, we're forced to confront the reality that we don't have all the answers and that we're not in control of everything. This realization is uncomfortable, but it's also incredibly powerful. It gives us the opportunity to embrace growth, to challenge ourselves, and to understand that setbacks are part of the process, not the end of it. The beauty of failure lies in its universality. We tend to think that successful people never fail, or that they must have some special advantage that keeps them from experiencing setbacks, but that's simply not true. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't isn't that one group never faces failure. It's that the successful group understands that failure is an integral part of the journey. They have learned to accept it, to see it as a valuable teacher, and to move forward despite it. Failure pushes us outside of our comfort zones. It challenges our assumptions, tests our limits, and forces us to adapt. It's easy to stay in the safe, predictable zone where success feels guaranteed. But growth doesn't happen in those moments. Growth happens when things don't go as planned, when we encounter obstacles that force us to reassess and rethink our strategies. It's in those moments of failure that we discover new ways of approaching problems, new methods of perseverance, and the deeper strength within ourselves to keep going. Embracing failure also means giving ourselves permission to be imperfect. We live in a world where success is often painted as a straight line from start to finish, with no room for mistakes. But in reality, no one's path to success is that simple. Everyone faces failures along the way, and sometimes those failures are the very things that lead to the most important breakthroughs. The key is not avoiding failure, but learning how to handle it with grace, resilience, and a determination to keep moving forward. So, failure is not a sign of defeat. It's simply an inevitable part of the journey to success. It's a reminder that we are pushing our limits, learning from our experiences, and developing the resilience needed to reach our goals. Embracing failure allows us to view it not as something to be feared, but as something to be respected and used as fuel for the road ahead. And in doing so, we are able to keep growing, keep striving, and ultimately, keep succeeding. Every failure is fuel. This is a powerful and often misunderstood truth. When we face failure, our instinct is to see it as a setback, something that holds us back from our goals. It's easy to be discouraged by a failed attempt because it feels like we've been defeated, that we're not good enough or capable enough to succeed. However, if we choose to see failure differently, we can realize that it holds immense potential for growth. Failure is not the end, it's a turning point. It provides us with invaluable information that can propel us forward if we are open to using it. Failure reveals what doesn't work. It shows us the paths we shouldn't take, the strategies that won't bring us closer to our goals, and the areas where we still need to improve. This is vital information. When we fail, we are given a unique opportunity to learn from our mistakes, to refine our approach, and to make adjustments for future attempts. It's easy to keep pushing forward with the same strategies and thinking that we are doing the right things, but failure forces us to reevaluate. It forces us to pause and assess what went wrong, helping us gain clarity on what needs to be done differently. This clarity is powerful because it directs us away from the distractions and missteps, leading us closer to the right approach. Failure is also a humbling experience. It teaches us that we don't know everything and that there is always room for growth. It challenges our ego, but in a way that is ultimately beneficial. A humble person is more open to learning, more willing to adapt, and more prepared to receive the lessons life has to offer. The more we embrace failure as part of our growth, the more we cultivate a mindset that welcomes learning, that is adaptable and willing to try new things. It's in these moments of failure that we find the strength to evolve. We develop a deeper understanding of who we are and what we're capable of, and we build resilience, the ability to keep moving forward even when things don't go as planned. In this sense, failure is never wasted. Every failure you experience can be used to fuel your future success. It builds your character, strengthens your resolve, and helps you develop the skills needed to succeed. It pushes you to step outside your comfort zone and grow in ways that success alone cannot teach you. As much as success is celebrated, failure plays an equally important role in shaping our journey. Without failure, we wouldn't know what success feels like because we wouldn't have had to work through the tough moments. By shifting our perspective and seeing failure as fuel, we transform the way we approach challenges. We no longer view failure as something to fear or avoid. Instead, we see it as an essential tool that equips us for what's ahead. It becomes a source of motivation, a reminder that every setback is simply an opportunity to learn, refine, and push forward with greater strength. Failure isn't the end of the road, it's the spark that ignites our journey towards success. The way we respond to failure is what truly determines whether it will hinder us or propel us forward. It's not the failure itself that defines us, but how we choose to react to it. In moments of failure, there is a decision to be made. Do we retreat and allow disappointment to paralyze us, or do we stand up, learn from the experience, and use it as fuel for future progress? The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is found in this very choice. Those who succeed are the ones who take their failures and turn them into stepping stones, not stumbling blocks. When faced with failure, it's easy to get caught up in the emotional weight of the situation. We feel frustrated, angry, or even ashamed. These feelings are natural, but they can easily lead us to a place of self-doubt, where we question our abilities and our worth. This is when many people make the mistake of quitting or letting the failure define their identity. But those who succeed understand that failure is not a reflection of their worth. It's just part of the process. They recognize that feeling frustrated or disappointed is natural, but they don't let those emotions control their actions. Instead, successful people look at failure through a lens of opportunity. They ask themselves, what can I learn from this? They see failure as valuable feedback, an opportunity to gain insight into what went wrong, and a chance to improve. This mindset shift is critical because it allows them to keep moving forward. It doesn't mean that they ignore the pain or frustration of failing. It simply means that they don't let those feelings stop them. They acknowledge the emotions, but they don't let them dictate their future actions. The key to success is not avoiding failure, but developing the resilience to continue moving forward despite it. This resilience comes from a deep understanding that failure is not the end. It's just a temporary setback that provides valuable lessons for the journey ahead. The more you face failure and bounce back from it, the stronger your resilience becomes. You begin to trust that no matter how difficult the situation is, you can learn from it and grow stronger as a result. This resilience builds confidence because it proves that you are capable of overcoming challenges and coming out on the other side more prepared and more equipped for the next phase of your journey. Another important aspect of how we respond to failure is the ability to let go of perfectionism. Perfectionism can paralyze us, making us afraid to fail in the first place. It leads us to believe that we must get everything right every time. But the truth is, perfectionism is an enemy of progress. If you are so afraid of failure that you won't even try, then you are denying yourself the opportunity to learn and improve. By accepting that failure is a natural part of growth, we can free ourselves from the unrealistic pressure of perfection and allow ourselves to take risks, try new things, and embrace challenges. Ultimately, the difference between success and failure is not about avoiding setbacks, but about how we respond when they occur. It's about seeing failure as a lesson, a stepping stone, a necessary part of the process. Those who succeed are the ones who choose to get up, learn from their failures, and keep going. They use every setback as an opportunity to grow stronger, smarter, and more capable. They understand that the path to success is never linear, and the ability to bounce back from failure is what ultimately propels them to achieve their goals. Failure is often seen as a negative event, something to be avoided at all costs. But in reality, failure plays a crucial role in personal and professional growth. It is through our failures that we are often shaped and refined into better versions of ourselves. This process requires resilience, an inner strength that allows us to persevere and learn from our setbacks. When we fail, we are forced to confront our weaknesses, acknowledge our mistakes, and take a deeper look at how we can improve. This confrontation, though difficult, is precisely what builds resilience. Resilience is not about avoiding challenges or never experiencing failure. It's about how we handle those moments. It's about understanding that failure is temporary, not permanent, and that each failure is a learning experience that brings us closer to our goals. Resilient people don't see failure as something to fear. Instead, they understand that failure is simply part of the journey, a stepping stone to greater success. The key is developing the mindset that failure doesn't define you. Instead, it offers valuable lessons that can guide you to better decisions in the future. Building resilience means learning to embrace failure with open arms. When we encounter setbacks, it's easy to fall into a mindset of self-doubt, to question our abilities, and to wonder if we're on the wrong path. But resilient people don't let these feelings control them. Instead, they take the time to reflect on what went wrong, what they can learn from the experience, and how they can adjust their approach moving forward. It's about seeing failure not as a personal flaw, but as an opportunity for growth. The more we practice this mindset, the more resilient we become. Failure also teaches us patience. We live in a world that often values instant results. We want success, recognition, and achievement quickly, but the reality is that most meaningful successes take time. Failure forces us to slow down, take stock of where we are, and understand that growth is a gradual process. We must be patient with ourselves, knowing that the road to success is rarely straight and never without obstacles. Resilience helps us to stay focused on the long-term vision, even when immediate results aren't visible. Another important aspect of resilience is adaptability. Failure forces us to reconsider our plans and adapt to new circumstances. In the face of failure, the ability to pivot, adjust our strategy, and approach challenges with flexibility becomes crucial. Life rarely unfolds exactly as we expect, and those who are resilient are the ones who are able to adapt when things don't go according to plan. They know that the first plan is rarely the best plan, and that being open to change is what helps them stay on track toward their ultimate goals. Resilience also strengthens our character. Each failure is a test of our perseverance and determination. The more we face challenges head-on and overcome them, the stronger we become. It's through these experiences that we learn to trust ourselves, our abilities, and our capacity to overcome difficulties. The ability to bounce back from failure is not something that happens overnight. It's built over time through consistent effort, self-reflection, and a commitment to learning from each setback. In the end, failure isn't something to fear. It's a vital part of our growth, and it's through our failures that we learn the resilience needed to face even greater challenges ahead. Every failure we experience is an opportunity to become stronger, more adaptable, and more confident in our ability to succeed. By building resilience, we turn each failure into a powerful tool for personal transformation. The road to success may be difficult, but with resilience, we can weather any storm and keep moving forward with unwavering determination. Failure is often viewed through a negative lens, but in reality, it's an essential component of growth. One of the most significant gifts failure provides is the ability to help us recognize where we need to improve. When we succeed, we often feel validated in our choices and actions, and we may miss the opportunity to reflect on areas of weakness or opportunity for growth. Success can sometimes make us complacent, but failure forces us to confront our limitations head-on. It acts as a mirror, reflecting back the aspects of ourselves and our approach that need refinement. Failure, in essence, offers a blueprint for personal and professional development. It shows us exactly where we fell short, whether it was in our planning, execution, or understanding of the task at hand. These failures don't just highlight what went wrong, they also highlight what could be done better next time. Without failure, we would be left wandering in the dark, thinking we are on the right track when in reality, we might be missing critical pieces of the puzzle. It's in the moments of failure that we gain clarity, learning what doesn't work and why. This clarity is essential as it offers us a chance to adjust our strategies and reframe our thinking. When we embrace failure, we embrace learning. This is where growth happens, not in the comfort of success, but in the struggle of overcoming failure. Each failure becomes a lesson that equips us with new insights, stronger skills, and a deeper understanding of ourselves. It sharpens our problem-solving abilities and builds our resilience. It also encourages us to approach challenges with greater creativity, as we're forced to think outside the box and try new approaches. Failure is a catalyst for innovation, as it drives us to explore new methods and solutions that we might never have considered in a perfect world where everything goes as planned. Recognizing where we need to improve through failure also brings humility. Humility is an important part of growth because it allows us to acknowledge that we are not infallible and that there's always room to get better. It's easy to become arrogant when things go well, thinking that we have mastered everything. But failure humbles us, reminding us that there is always more to learn. This humility opens the door to feedback, reflection, and ongoing development. It keeps us grounded, reminding us that every failure is a chance to refine our approach and become better at what we do. Furthermore, failure often forces us to reassess our goals and the path we're taking. It's common for people to become so fixated on a particular goal or vision that they fail to notice if it's no longer serving them or if there's a better path available. Failure acts as a reset button, providing us with the space to reevaluate our objectives and make necessary course corrections. Sometimes the lessons learned from failure reveal that the original goal needs to be adjusted or that a new direction is needed entirely. This process of reassessment and refinement helps us become more aligned with our true values and purpose. In addition, failure can help us identify our strengths. It's through the process of working through our failures that we often